time.
The Indiana Sentinels, fresh off of a victory, their first in the 2026 calendar year, come back to Landon Arena for game number 2 of the weekend, taking on the Topeka Scarecrows. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Landon Arena. Andy Petzinger here, happy to bring you along on the broadcast. Well, it's a victory for the Indiana Sentinels yesterday, their most complete effort of the 2026 calendar year, and certainly in the last little while. I mentioned it before, the defensive zone structure last night was absolutely phenomenal for the Sentinels. They won that game from the D zone out, and that is a huge thing that they're going to need to do again today in order to get a victory. Let's take a look at the highlights real quick and see exactly how the Sentinels ended up getting here. This is the fifth meeting between these two teams, and it was a scoreless first period through a majority of it, but Richie Colarusso picks up his second goal in as many games, his second on the season. Oh, his little drag move, whoop! Then he has to go around Zinchenko as well, toss it home to pick up his second goal of the season. Little spill on the celly as well, but that's all right. And he put the Sentinels up 1-0, and that's where we would stay through one period of play. In the second period, the Scarecrows were the ones to get on the board first. Aldiar Nerlin with his 9th goal of the year, a little 2-on-1 after the Sentinels had given it up in the neutral zone. A long pass was intercepted by Blaisdell, and that finds its way into the back of the net to tie things up at 1 apiece. But the Sentinels would answer right back once more. Noah Hippolyte-Smith picking up his second goal of the year on some really phenomenal pressure inside the offensive zone. Look at Hippolyte-Smith beat his man to the puck there, keep possession of it. Esposito cycles it down low. Hippolyte-Smith will send it right back up the wall, comes back to him again. Bodies go into the net, all kinds of confusion in the Topeka zone. Finds its way to the back of the net, and the Sentinels once again regain the lead, this time 2-1. On Ivanov and Esposito getting the assist on that goal. That's where we would stay through 40 minutes. And in the third, a very good period, very structured period for the Sentinels. Juwan Davis throwing a check there, starts the rush back out. Anderson moving it up to Colazzo. Colazzo finding a little space there to get that pass across perfectly onto the stick of Juwan Davis. He gets his first in a Sentinel sweater. And it's a 2-goal lead for the very first time in a hockey game for Indiana. Things would get a little hectic at the very end of the game after they had just killed off a penalty. Unable to clear out the puck, Graspy keeps it in. His long shot deflects on the way through, hitting Hippolyte-Smith on the way. That made it 3-2, so a little bit of concern, but the Sentinels would bear down on the ensuing faceoff, win the draw, pick up the puck, not allow the Scarecrows to get into their offensive zone. Come through the neutral zone, a one battle there by Zinchenko. He gets it to Pavlov. He picks up his 5th, and that is how we would end the hockey game. A 4-2 victory, a huge victory for the Indiana Sentinels. It is their 7th victory of the season, their first against the Topeka Scarecrows, and couldn't have come at a better time. Talked with Richie Colarusso before the game about last night's victory and what to look for ahead for today.
Andy Petzinger downstairs pregame with Richie Colarusso. 2 games in a row with a goal. How you feeling?
Good. The team's been hot here, firing on all cylinders. Everybody's moving the puck around, and it's helping the team produce.
Talk to me about your goal yesterday. You kind of fumbled the puck a couple of times. You even had to go through Zinchenko in order to score that goal. Talk me through that goal.
Saw a few triangles, wanted to attack them, found the back of the net.
Now, you've got goals in 2 straight games, and I know you hadn't really scored up until this point. Does it kind of feel like a weight off your shoulders? Or?
Yeah, that was a huge monkey on my back. I was getting in my head about it, so I'm glad that happened out in Port Huron, and I think it's going to help in the long run for myself here.
Snapped a 7-game losing streak yesterday. Obviously, the boys are kind of breathing a little bit lighter, but how do you come into today's game not getting too complacent against a pretty potent Topeka roster?
I think like what Coach been saying, we got to come out early first period here, and you said that yourself in the pre-show, and I think that's our best bet. Just come out hot and bang some bodies.
All right, good luck, Richie.
Thank you.
big thanks to Richie Colarusso. God, is he hilarious. And he is having a whole lot of fun with this Sentinels team. So a lot of really good stuff going on right now for the Indiana Sentinels. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break and come right back after this. You're watching Indiana Sentinels hockey on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
Scott and his entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
All right, we welcome you back to Landon Arena. So Denver Craig had himself quite a hockey game last night. Let's take a quick look at what he did. 2 goals, his very first 2 goals in the SPHL. Getting that pass right in the slot, goes upstairs where Mama hides the cookies. He picks up his very first goal in a Quad City uniform, but he was not done there. Just a little while later, before the first period would come to a close, it's almost a carbon copy of the first goal to win a draw here in the neutral zone. Get the puck in. And once again, this is what good goal scorers do. You go to the net, good things happen, comes right onto his stick, and bing, right into the back of the cage. So Denver Craig, with his 2 first goals in the SPHL, doing some really good things out there. Let's take a look at the head-to-head matchup. Pardon me.
At defense number 71.
7-20-4 for the Indiana Sentinels.
At forward number 77, Trevor Brown.
19-12-0 for the Topeka Scarecrows. Head-to-head 1-3-1. Sentinels getting their first victory against the Topeka Scarecrows last night. We'll send it on downstairs for the starting lineups and the national anthem.
Scarecrows is Robbie Nichols, the assistant coach Justin Schmidt, equipment manager Kyle Roberts, and the trainer Alan Strasberg. Fans, please stand and remove your caps as we welcome to the ice singers from the Kansas Youth Chorale as they sing tonight's national anthem. Enhanced Youth Corral.
All right, job well done on the national anthem. Let's get to your starting lineups. For the Indiana Sentinels up front, Ethan Esposito, Noah Hippolyte-Smith, and Maximus Merrick Tortorella. Noah Hippolyte-Smith in game number 100 today. Congratulations to him. Marian Pazika paired up with Romeo Terrain. And in goal, John Werber. In between the pipes, let's get to your goalie matchup. As it's going to be John Werber in between the pipes for the Sentinels. He's 4-10-2 on the year, a 392 goals against, and an 892 save percentage. Meanwhile, Sammy Bernard on the opposite side, 10-6 with a 251 goals against and a 926 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Last night was the very first time that Sammy Bernard had a below 900 save percentage in over a month since December the 6th against Biloxi. So the Sentinels doing their job yesterday and cashing in on their opportunities. The very first period of Sentinel hockey brought to you by Sprague Hotel Developers. All right, let's get ready, and here we go, underway in Topeka, just for a brief moment, and then we got to redo it all over again because it was an illegal puck drop. Just keeping you all on your toes. All right, now we're officially underway. Sentinels control off the draw comes to Tortorella. His drag move at the blue line was stopped by Gagnon. Pazika's clearing attempt to flex. Hippolyte-Smith will grab it once more. Now Pazika from in behind his own net gets hit hard there by Smith. Out to the blue line it goes. Long snapshot comes up off the glass and wraps around. Held in at the blue line. Smith down low, moving it to Graspy. He'll one-handed into the corner. Nerlin, body there by Pazika, who's trying to kick this one free. They battle for it along the wall. Finally comes right back down into the corner. Nerlin, a turnaround shot from the goal line. Didn't get any wood on it. Now Esposito will skate out towards center ice and clear. Message received loud and clear for the Topeka Scarecrows this morning at their morning skate. There were no pucks on the ice. And if you don't know what that means that they were skated down to the bone pretty much for about a half an hour after their performance yesterday. So head coach Robbie Nichols not thrilled about the way that things had gone in the game yesterday. So you'll certainly see a different Scarecrows team out on the ice today, especially here in the first period. They're going to want to get out on a hot foot as there's an offside call on the Sentinels.
That's right, tonight only. You can grab yourself a bag of perfect popcorn for just $2.
Just about a minute and a half into the first period. Palazzo on the draw here just outside the Scarecrows end. Draw controlled by the Scarecrows. They'll go D to D. It's Lind. He'll look over his options and throw this up ahead, redirected in deep by Elijah Wilson. Werber will clear this one off the glass. Dylan Infantino back in the lineup again today after taking a hard hit late in the third period. Thought he might have hyperextended his knee just a little bit, but felt good enough to play in today's game. Dumped in by Inlow. And the Scarecrows will go off for a line change. Pavlov there to grab it for the Sentinels. Ivan Panovanov in behind his own net will start moving up to center ice. Anderson will pick up that feed and flip this one high into the air, cross ice. And Zinchenko chasing after it. He's the first one there. Batted that one around to Lees. Lees unable to get a hold of it, but Anderson taking a shot there from the wall. That missed not by much. Now Zinchenko in the neutral zone. Had it stripped off of his stick. Colarusso will control. Castillo up ahead for Jonas Lees. Lees over the line. Taking a wrist shot that deflects off the boards in behind. Hits the back of the net. Rides around the rim of the boards. There's Zinchenko. Nice job to take a body on his man. That's Corey Checo. Puck stays in the zone. Zinchenko coming out to the blue line, and just coming in too late was Hippolyte Smith. He was coming off of a line change. Couldn't keep that puck inside the zone. Sentinels still take control, though. Colarusso will pull up along the half wall. Nice move to drop it back out to Esposito. He'll hit the far side. Tortorella's wrist shot goes up off the glass. Richie Colarusso putting on the moves here in the last couple of games. Now Esposito leaving it for Hippolyte Smith in game number 100 on the backhand. Tried to throw that one out in front. Had it knocked down, and Bernard swipes it away. Kicked out to center ice. Dumped in by Smith. Something to keep an eye on as this one
Icing.
is thrown all the way down for an icing call. Something to keep an eye on that might develop after yesterday's game. Avery Smith was getting into it with Matthew Castillo in last night's game. So see if anything else develops there. Yesterday was a penalty-free hockey game all the way up until the final 2 minutes, just about 2.5 minutes or so of the game, when the Sentinels had gotten called for a penalty late. So we'll see if that also continues today. We've got the same officiating staff as yesterday in today's hockey game. Here's Smith over the line. He was stopped up there by Romeo Terrain and bounced out to center ice, dumped right back in by the Scarecrows. Romeo Terrain behind his own net. We'll move this one up ahead, just a little out of the reach of Colazzo. And Terrain will come right back into his own end with it. Nearly lost it in behind his own net, but calmly moved that to Infantino. Now, on the far side, Joan Davis will dump this one in deep. Sentinels off for a line change. Scarecrows will break out of their own end. Up ahead, it's Elijah Wilson cutting in over the line. Takes a snapshot that misses the net. Bounces out to the other side. Pavlov there. He picked up that empty net goal yesterday. Unable to clear it out. Tip, they score! That one hit Elijah Wilson in front. Found a way over John Werber. Bar down pretty much. And it is a 1-0 Scarecrow lead early in the first period. So just at the 15:36 mark of period number 1, Elijah Wilson picks up the goal.
Scarecrows goal!
His 16th.
The season scored by number 16, Elijah Wilson.
Not only is that his 16th goal of the season, but that is his 5th against the Sentinels.
Scarecrows goal. 4:24, period number 1. Back for game, let him hit it.
Sentinels look to answer right back. They're inside the offensive zone. Lease is stopped up at the circles. Cleared out to center ice. Zinchenko will control, or pardon me, that's Lucas Winnick. His pass up ahead for Zinchenko is taken away and dumped right back in by the Scarecrows. Cleared out through center ice. Bouncing puck finds Smith. Panovanov will carry on over the line. He'll throw it to the middle of the ice, hoping for Hippolyte Smith, who is driving down the lane. Now Hippolyte Smith takes an elbow up high. Still we get no call. Scarecrows will come away with it. Spinning away from a check is Trevor Graspy. Lost it. Turnaround shot there from Zinchenko. Hard on the forecheck. Able to strip that puck from behind and got a shot on goal. Bernard with a stop. Already a couple shifts today where Bo Zinchenko has been hard to deal with in the offensive zone as Lind coughs up the puck. Castillo throwing a check. Got knocked down to the ground, but still was able to separate his man from the puck. Finally, Colazzo walks in. He'll take a shot on net. Bernard makes the stop, and he'll hang on. Just about 6 minutes gone in the first period. Scarecrows lead at 1-0. We'll be right back after this on the Sentinels Hockey Network. Welcome back to Topeka, where the Sentinels find themselves down 1-0 early in this hockey game. They'll find themselves with an offensive zone face-off. They'll have the Leafs unit out there. He'll win this draw. Out to the blue line, Colarusso had it stripped off of his stick, 2-on-1 for the Scarecrows. Koch over for Wilson, shooting, couldn't get the shot on net, laying down to block was Castillo. I'm not sure if he got a piece of it or not, but it ended up sailing wide. Colarusso will move to Zinchenko, pass out in front, but tied up was Anderson. And the Scarecrows will clear out through center. Bouncing puck, Pazika back in his own end, is hit there by Koch. Comes around for Zinchenko. He'll flip it high through center ice. Bouncing puck is swatted in deep by Anderson. Goes in on net. Bernard will cover. These two teams are going to see each other quite a bit over the next little while. As you take a look here, they've got 7 more matchups after tonight. They won't see each other until about mid-March when the Scarecrows come to Indiana for a 2-game series. Then they've got 2 that are in Minnesota on the 27th and the 28th of March. And then the Sentinels finish out their season right here in a 3-game set against the Topeka Scarecrows. So going to be a lot more times that we're going to see this team. So if we think that there's some bad blood now, that's only going to bubble over here over the next couple months. This pass comes right out towards the slot, knocked away. Tortorella there will clear it out of his own end. Esposito chasing after it. He'll hack at this one and get it deep into the Scarecrow zone. Topeka will start moving out. Long pass up ahead. Deflects off the inside of the skate of Gagnon. He'll move it along for Inlow. Nice little pass there through the legs. Inlow back around in behind. Checo out top. Return pass for Checo. He wasn't ready for it. Ends up back into Sentinels' hands, and Pazika will start moving up ahead. Merrick Tortorella. 1-on-4 here, able to gain entry to the zone. Shoots when he scores! 1-on-4, and Merrick Tortorella lulled them all to sleep and snaps one underneath the blocker of Sammy Bernard, and the Indiana Sentinels tie it up at 1. Thanks to Merrick Tortorella and his 6th goal of the season. Boy, kind of a nothing play. He legitimately just lulled all 4 Topeka players to sleep there and overpowered Sammy Bernard with a snapshot right underneath the arm. And we are tied at 1. Colazzo, the only assist on that goal. Long feed up ahead, ends up going all the way back into the Scarecrow zone. Bernard elects to play this one off. Clearing attempt ends up getting out to center ice. Smith will leave this one along. Nerlin dropping it down low. Graspy there in behind, tried to find Smith in front, but couldn't get it through Panovanov. Comes back to Graspy in behind. He'll go out to the blue line, just escapes past Blaisdell and out to center ice. One battle there along the wall, comes out to Pavlov. He'll leave it off for Colazzo. But Colazzo well covered, unable to get a shot off. They battle for it along the boards. Ends up going in behind the net, and Checo goes high up off the glass. We'll wrap it around and out into Sentinels territory. Approaching the halfway point of period number 1, Sentinels have tied it up at 1 thanks to Merrick Tortorella. Lease throwing it out in front, just hopped over the stick of Davis, who was driving towards the tops of the circles. Ends up all the way back into the Sentinel zone. Snapped out to center ice, Zinchenko had it roll away from him. Now Elijah Wilson will throw it right back into Sentinel territory, where Castillo braces himself from the check against Koch. Lease pokes it away from Koash. Clearing attempt blocked by Wilson. Comes back to Castillo. This time he'll send it through center. Winnick settling this puck down. Shot from the bottom of the circle. Sails wide. Hippolyte Smith unable to control that puck, and it sails out to center. Zinchenko gets some help to bank that out to the red line. Turned right back in again by Bird, but offsides are the Scarecrows. Well, when you've got a 7-game losing streak like the Sentinels had yesterday, you got to find ways to try to create some offense. And you can't keep on counting on the same guys over and over and over and over again. And yesterday they got 10 different players on the score sheet based on their 4 goals. And the only guy who had more than 1 point was Zinchenko. He had 2 assists. So when you get 10 different guys on the score sheet in one game, you're pretty much sealing yourself for a victory. Here's Marek Tortorella again, driving down that far wall. This time he'll pull up and send one on goal. That sails wide. Wraps around the wall. Pazika pinching down low to try to keep the puck in. He's battling with Bird there in the corner. Scarecrows will come up with the puck and get it out towards center ice. Dumped into the Sentinel zone. Marian Pazika will drop it off in behind. Terrain there to grab it. Didn't like what he saw, so he sends it back to Pazika. And he'll start the breakout from in behind the net. Dylan Infantino has some space. He'll cross to the middle of the ice. Had to roll off the end of his twig, though, as soon as he got to the blue line. Pazika now will just toss it right back into Scarecrow territory. Picked up there by Connor Lind. And he'll pull up in behind the net, and the Scarecrows now set their breakout up. Pardon me. Look out here. That pass deflected. Hit the side of the net. In front it goes. There's a shot. Big save. Rebound. Second save made by Bernard. Pass comes out in front. They score! Found its way to Jawan Davis. Goals in back-to-back games for number 6. A hard forecheck creates a turnover. Sentinels go to work. Jawan Davis left unchecked in front. It's 2-1. Shot number 1 and number 2 were both stopped, and a turnaround pass goes through Bernard back to Davis in front. He beats Bernard on the blocker's side. And the Sentinels up by 1, pardon. Colazzo again on the assist. He had those 2 attempts at the side of the goal. And a great job to not quit on that play on the 3rd attempt. Found a way to get that to Jawan Davis in front. Wilson has this puck go through his legs. Back comes Pavlov in his own end. Koch on him. Rides him into the wall, but Pavlov did his job and got the puck out to center ice. Panavanov trying to drag his way over the line, was stood up there. And back come the Scarecrows the other way. Dipping his shoulder there is Koch. Castillo throws him into the wall. Hippolyte Smith there to help out, and he'll start out to center ice. And Zinchenko helping him out to get it there. Anderson hits the red line. He'll dump it in. Wrapped hard around the walls. Zinchenko the first to get to it. He'll send it down low, just out of the reach of Hippolyte Smith. And now Colazzo collects at center. Bouncing puck comes into the Scarecrows end. Sent in behind Bondi. Will go D-to-D. And skated out to center ice and flipped in deep by Litvinov. Bird, the first one to grab. He'll hold on to it with Colarusso on him. Pass out towards the slot. Bird had to knock that one down. It was about at his midsection. Couldn't really do anything with it, and the Sentinels will clear. Esposito has it swiped away from him. Following up is Davis. He'll pull up along the half wall. Look across for Esposito. A turning shot. He gets blasted as soon as he took the shot. And he has taken a couple seconds to regain his composure and try to get off the ice. Scarecrows collect. No penalty on the play. Dumped in deep. Colarusso after it. Smith lost an edge. Colarusso will move it up for Colazzo. He'll go off the glass and down. Esposito in behind the net, one-handing that towards the front, swiped away out to the blue line. Long snapshot there from Pizzica into the glove. Bernard and Esposito not thrilled, or excuse me, Infantino not thrilled with the Scarecrows after the play. Cooler heads will prevail. Esposito getting looked at on the Sentinels bench. Will come back right after this. 2-1 Sentinels, 6:30 left to go in the first. Two to one Sentinels. 13 and a half minutes into period number one. Somebody that the Sentinels should certainly keep an eye out on here in this hockey game is going to be Scott Koash. 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points against the Sentinels. Was held out the score sheet yesterday. He's got an assist so far today, but he is certainly somebody to keep an eye out for a couple of reasons. First and foremost is the fact that he is 1 goal away from 100 in his career, so he's going to have a little bit of a fire in his belly. And secondly, he's not used to being held off the score sheet, to be quite honest with you. So he's a guy that likes to come back. If he has a quote-unquote off game, he'll come back 10 times better the next night. So keep an eye out for number 18 wearing black. Scarecrows, this pass comes through center ice and all the way down, redirected into the Sentinels' end. Bouncing puck comes in behind a Romeo Terrain. Davis is there. He stood up, though. Blaisdell coming down to swipe that off his stick. Now Terrain this time will flip it high through the air. A little too high as this one ends up going out of play. Was it deflected? If so, it'll stay 5-on-5, but if this goes straight out of play, they're talking about it. This is going to be a penalty to Indiana. And let's see. Yeah, they're still having a conversation here. I mentioned earlier, there was only 1 penalty called yesterday, and it wasn't until 2.5 minutes left to go in the third period was when we finally got a penalty called. And it was on the Sentinels, Esposito. Yep, it is going to end up being a penalty here on the Sentinels. That puck ended up going straight out of play, so Romeo Terrain will sit in the sin bin for a delay of game call. With just under 6 minutes left to play here. In period number one, the Scarecrows power play went 0 for 1 yesterday. Overall, though, it's 33 for 139 on the season. That's 23.7%, third best in the Empire Division. Sentinels on the penalty kill, 116 out of 150 this year. They're 77.3% overall. Off the draw, this one goes hard off the glass by Zinchenko and down. Good start to this PK. Scarecrows back in their own zone. Out to center ice comes Bondi. He'll pull up. Cross over the blue line and chip and chase. Excuse me, that's Graspy. Wilson on the far wall. His pass deflects. A shot saved by Werber. Took that one right in between the eyes. That hit the referee and went right to Graspy, who smoked that one on net. Werber, perfect positioning, able to make the save. Pass out in front. Big save by Werber. One-timer from Wilson, and Werber able to get across with a toe. Wilson down low, holding on to it. Looking up top for Lind. He'll walk the line and drop it back to Wilson on the far side. His shot stopped by Werber. The rebound cleared out to the blue line. Held in, though, by Graspy. Wilson controls. Graspy again at the point. Holding, will drop it to Lind. He's got Nerlin down low. Can't get it to him. Finds Wilson across up top to Graspy. Back to Wilson, a one-timer. Crossbar and out. A battle for it along the wall and cleared out to center ice. Look out. That hit the linesman on its way out. So twice that an official got in the way of a clearing attempt, and the Scarecrows bring it right back in. Here's Nerlin. Fakes a shot and will pull up. Comes across. Lind holding on to it. Walking to the middle. His snapshot was blocked on the way through. I believe that's Lease who got a stick on that. Zinchenko also in the neighborhood. And behind the net it goes. Now Nerlin taking a look. Trying to throw it on goal. It gets blocked. Rebound. Big save by Werber. Oh, that puck stayed down low. Right onto the stick of Checo, who tried to stick handle Werber out of position. Werber stayed with him the whole time and snapped it out of the air with the left hand. Larceny from Werber in net.
Scott and his entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
Back into Topeka. What a save that was from John Werber. He was committed and down, was still able to get that glove up in time and snap it out of the air to keep this a one-goal Indiana lead. There's 10 seconds left to go on the Powerade penalty kill. Face-off won by the Sentinels and cleared down by Colarusso. Nice job by Hippolyte Smith to bear down on that face-off, and it gets cleared out all the way.
Indiana full strength.
Back to full strength we go with 3:45 left to go here in period number one. Bounced into the Sentinels end. Colarusso keeping Smith to the outside. Smith wheeling and dealing, dropping it down low. Pass out in front for Gagnon. Or from Gagnon, looking for Koash. Didn't get there. Tortorella blocks a shot up ahead for Hippolyte Smith. Excuse me, that's Anderson shooting. That's off the blocker of Bernard and wide. That puck was rolling on Anderson. Really couldn't get an opportunity to settle it down until the very last moment. All he could really do was try to wire it on net. And Bernard with the blocker save. Pizzica from in behind his net. Anderson banking it off the wall. Can't get it past Bird. Bird then hit by Anderson. And it gets cleared out to the neutral zone where Lind will control. Werber from in behind the net will leave it off for Marian Pizzica. Wrapped up to Infantino. He tried to drop that off for Merrick Tortorella, but I don't think he was ready for it or even aware of the fact that that was coming to him. Off the bench, it's Jawan Davis. He'll dip the shoulder and get in, take a snapshot. That one hit Bernard up high. Might have hit him right in the head as well. Shot from the wall, stopped by Bernard. The rebound goes sailing wide. And the Scarecrows will clear. Panovanov looking to the middle of the ice. Davis hits Infantino. Now Colazzo to Panovanov. The snapshot. He knew he had Davis in front. Threw it on net. Stop required from Bernard. Back come the Scarecrows over the blue. Driving in behind the back. Pass out in front. Deflects out to the blue line. Nerlin with some trickery there. Was skating around in behind the net. Decided to go in behind his own back to the side where he just left. It had fooled Werber, but Scarecrows unable to convert on it. Now Nerlin gets checked in behind by Zinchenko. And Zinchenko will exit out to the neutral zone. Moving it up ahead, Infantino back to Zinchenko. Drags around, check to the back end. Save made, rebound. They hack at it, they score! Bo Zinchenko barreling his way to the net. And on the third or fourth attempt, able to find a way to beat Bernard and put it home. It's 3-1 Sentinels with 1:17 to go in the first. What a passing play by the Sentinels to enter the zone. Infantino to Zinchenko. First shot was stopped. The rebound laying there in the crease. He's able to pull it out from in between his skates and hack at it to put it home. And the Sentinels with 3 goals on their first 8 shots.
Scored by number 83, Bodan Zinchenko.
With a brilliant first period.
Lease and number 89, Dylan Infantino. The time of the goal, 18:43.
Lisa and Infantino on the assist.
1 minute remaining.
So the 80s line, 83, 88, and 89, able to convert late in the first. Under a minute left to go here in period number 1. Scarecrows enter Sentinel territory. Koch holding it in behind the net. We'll cycle it down low into the corner. Koash is there. He'll find Gagnon here at the near side. Back to Koash. Koash trying to drag behind Colarusso, able to throw it out in front. The slap shot broke the stick of Blaisdell, who's able to keep it in for a moment, and then second try from Tortorella gets it out to center. Colarusso from in behind his net with 15 seconds on the clock. Gets some help to clear it out to center. Up ahead for Davis waiting in the neutral zone. He'll hit Colazzo. He'll hold on to it for Merrick Tortorella. Couldn't get it to his forehand. Rolls off the end of his twig. And that is where the first period will leave us as Koash's last-ditch effort hits Pazitka. And the period comes to a close. So after the Sentinels give up an early goal, 4.5 minutes into the first period, Elijah Wilson putting one home on a redirect in front. They put 3 straight into the back of the net, starting with Max Merrick Tortorella, who lulled all of the Scarecrows to sleep. The Sentinels had gone off on a line change, and Tortorella dangled his way through and threw an easy shot on net that Sammy Bernard got a bit with his blocker, but not enough. It sailed into the back of the net. Tie things up at 1. And at the 8:52 mark, it would be Jawan Davis off of a beautiful play by Colazzo after he was denied twice at the side of the net. Didn't quit, threw it out in front. Davis was waiting. Found a nearly wide open net. That made it 2-1, and just before the period would close, another great passing play with Jonas Lees, Dylan Infantino, and Bo Zinchenko. Infantino able to find a way to get it to Zinchenko. He was in from about the hash marks, was stopped on the first try, stayed with it, and pounded home the rebound to make it 3-1. Shots on goal in that first period, 9-7 in favor of the Sentinels. And they lead it 3-1. We'll step aside for the intermission break and be back with an intermission report right after this. You're watching Sentinels Hockey on the Sentinels Hockey Network. Welcome back to Topeka, where the Sentinels lead it 3-1 over the Topeka Scarecrows, and things not going well for Topeka in that first period, or for the first intermission for that matter. Topeka has resorted to doing the wave inside the Landon Arena, so that's how you know things are really going south. But after getting out to an early lead, Topeka kind of lost their mojo a little bit. It was a somewhat quick response for the Sentinels. And Indiana just kept piling it on, and once again, not getting too much offensive zone time. Didn't really have many opportunities to get set up in the offensive zone, but the chances that they were getting, they're cashing in on. And the best part is, you take a look at all 3 goals today, 2 of them are because guys were driving hard to the net and making life difficult for the goaltender, Sammy Bernard. On that first goal, you know, that's just the hockey god smiling down on Maximus Merrick Tortorella, who threw a shot from the circles after going 1-on-4, and it found a way to go in. But if you're going to win hockey games, not all the goals are going to be pretty. Not all of them are going to be highlight reel goals. Sometimes you got to get gritty. Sometimes you got to get dirty. And that's exactly what Indiana did in that first period. And that's why they're winning by a score of 3-1. Let's take a look around the league as to what's going on right now. And take a look at the Twin City Thunderbirds. They won yesterday in overtime. Binghamton tied it at the very last minute. And Twin City pulled out the W in extra time. But right now it's 5-2 Twin City in the third period. So Binghamton having a little bit of trouble in the last couple of days. And couldn't be at a better time with the Sentinels coming out there next weekend. PD Ice Cats and Athens Rock Lobsters, that is actually postponed. I guess the snow got pretty bad out in Georgia, so that is postponed to be played at a later date. Out in Blue Ridge, the Bobcats up 2-0 over the Danbury Hat-Tricks. That is in the second period there. Port Huron and Watertown at a 0-0 tie in the first. Columbus looking for the weekend sweep over Biloxi. They're up 4-0 through 2 periods of play. Yesterday, Biloxi had the lead in the second period. I believe it was 3-2 before the River Dragons were able to turn it on and make a comeback. And here in Topeka, it is, well, it's 3-1, not 3-0. My apologies on that, but 3-1 in favor of the Indiana Sentinels through 20 minutes of play. We'll step aside for the rest of intermission and come back with the second period of play right after this. You are watching Indiana Sentinels hockey on the Sentinels Hockey Network. Welcome back to Topeka. The Indiana Sentinels leading 3-1 and playing well enough to put Sammy Bernard on the bench. Welcome to the game, Bryn Sommerfeld. Some of you Sentinels fans might know that name. He used to play for the Sentinels, and this is his very first game in the FPHL since October the 17th, when he was in a game where the Sentinels had lost 10-1 to the Rock Lobsters. He came in relief and played only 20 minutes in that game, where he gave up 2 goals on 10 shots. He spent the last little while playing in the MIHL, the Michigan Semi-Pro League, and he was just signed the other day by the Topeka Scarecrows. So the Indiana Sentinels, with a cold goaltender in net, have a 2-goal lead right now. If I'm Everett Thompson, I'm telling them every single chance you get, throw the puck on net. He's not really warmed up as of right now. Let's see how into the game that he is. Second period of Sentinels hockey brought to you by Coca-Cola, as we are underway in behind the net. Nerlin passing it out in front. Nice job by Esposito to cover his man. That was Connor Lind, I believe, pinching in. Good to see Esposito back out there on the ice after he took a huge hit in the first period. This one gets sent all the way back into the Sentinel zone. Pavlov fended off there by Koch. He spins away from a check, looking out in front. Koash unable to kick that one to his stick. Settled up by Nerlin, coming out to the blue line. He'll find Nerwinski there. That long snapshot blocker to side by Werber. Nerlin gets it again. Koch unable to handle that puck. Goes to the half wall where Koash cycles it down low. Nerlin there, back in front for Koash. Good save by Werber. Quick shot by Koash, and Werber able to seal down the 5-hole. Here comes Merrick Tortorella. His snapshot sails wide. Turnaround pass bounces through the slot onto the stick of Elijah Wilson, who has to double back to grab that one. And he'll force it out to the neutral zone. Pavlov back in his own end. We'll go D-to-D with Panovanov. Juwan Davis, sensing he's got a little space, takes it by himself and over the line. There's a long snapshot from Zinchenko that comes up high on Sommerfeld. He's able to knock that one down, and it gets cleared all the way back into Sentinel territory. Long pass up ahead for Davis, read by Blaisdell. He'll come right back in. Dropped out to the blue line, but out to center ice, just out of the reach of Inlow. Blaisdell stripped of it. Zinchenko chasing after it into the Scarecrow zone. Able to outrace Checo to the puck. Now Elise leaving it to Colarusso. His shot deflects in behind. Bouncing puck. Picked up by the Scarecrows. Checo will clear. Out to center ice and all the way down. This one will go the length for an icing. 2 minutes and 12 seconds into period number 2. The Sentinels getting an offensive zone faceoff. What a welcome to the hockey game that is for Brent Sommerfeld. First shot that he sees is a laser beam from Bo Zinchenko, and he catches it right in the beak. Face-off going to the right-hand side of Sommerfeld. Won by the Sentinels. Sent down low. Couple bodies collide. Turnover in front. A slap shot from Winnick ends up going up off the glass. Colarusso over skates on the near wall. They battle for it. Checo able to clear out to the blue line. Held in, though. Colarusso, he's got some space. Fires! And Sommerfeld the save. Able to pin that one to his chest. Good, strong stop there from the Topeka goaltender at the top of his crease, as now we've got Lind getting into it with Ethan Esposito after the play. Esposito getting escorted to his bench. And another offensive zone draw now for the Sentinels. That whole play develops thanks to Richie Colarusso and some soft hands at the blue line. Kept that puck in on the clearing attempt. Was able to get a nice strong shot on net. And Sommerfeld with a good stop. Ash and Colazzo on the face-off. Puck comes to the Scarecrows. It's Smith coming in over the line. His pass out in front. Werber able to stick that aside before it gets to its intended receiver. And Indiana able to clear it out. Colazzo on the turnover. His shot goes off the side of the net. Pass out in front from Infantino, looking for Davis, but out of his reach. And the Scarecrows will clear. Nerlin banking it up ahead. Smith trying to drag his way down the middle of the ice. Lost control of the puck. And held in at the blue line. Nerlin will get it on the turnover on the backhand. His pass across was hoping to find Smith, but it was just out of his reach. Clearing attempt held in once more. Litvinov will send it down low. Nerlin backhand pass blindly in front. Comes to Infantino. He'll find Colazzo. He'll hit the red line and dump it all the way in. Look out, bouncing puck there. Sommerfeld able to knock it down. His pass misses Koch. It goes all the way down. They'll wave it off as Pavlov had lifted his stick. Now Werber needing to clear that one out as that puck took a strange bounce off the backboards. Wilson will fork that one up ahead. Pass intended for Koch, intercepted though. Panavanov holding on to it. Pass out in front for Lees. He had a stick lifted by Wilson at the last moment. At the blue line, Anderson keeps the play alive. Knocked down with a high stick by Koch. And we'll get a whistle stopping play with just about 4 minutes gone here in period number 2. Well, I mentioned that there were 10 different players who had scored or gotten on the score sheet yesterday. Here's the last 5 games of who those goals are coming from coming into this hockey game. 2 goals for Richie Colarusso, 2 for Vlad Pavlov, Noah Hippolyte-Smith, Jawan Davis, Ivan Panavanov, and Nolan Slahetka, all with 1. So not your usual suspects for the Indiana Sentinels, but it's always good to get some depth scoring, and in the last couple of games, they're getting it up and down their lineup. Cleared out to center ice. Zinchenko there. He'll drop it off for Pavlov inside his own end. Off the line change, Esposito will chip it around to check in the neutral zone and start wheeling and dealing. Esposito, a snapshot, good stop there by Sommerfeld. Good hard shot there from Esposito. Now Hippolyte-Smith getting a face full of glove just for driving the goal. And we get 3 on each side and behind the net with some pushing and shoving. You're starting to see some frustration on the Topeka Scarecrow side. Boiling over a little bit if the Sentinels are able to hold their composure. Might be a chance that they can get their first power play of the weekend. Officiating staff are letting the boys play here this weekend. There have been a couple of calls that I thought might have been made, but it's been consistent on both sides. There's been a couple of plays where I thought a call might be made. Hasn't been made yet. On the face-off, Infantino will win it to the wall, comes out to the blue line, redirected on goal a couple of times on its way through. Sails wide of the net. Graspy has it for Topeka. He'll move it to Blaisdell. He'll float it out to center. Comes right back to Ashton Colazzo. He's stick checked by Graspy in at the neutral zone. Zinchenko will chip in there. That's Infantino chipping after it. Cut off by Blaisdell, and he'll move it forward to Avery Smith in the neutral zone. Cross ice dump into the opposite side. Nerlin, the bad angle shot, hit Werber up high. Werber ready for it. Makes the save. Lynn sends it down low. Nerlin in behind. Backhand pass out in front. Nobody home for Topeka. Held in at the blue line. Long shot to Flex. Wraps around the wall, and Davis will flip it out. Will it have the legs for icing? It will, as that puck rolled on in. Unfortunate there for the Sentinels. However, it is going to be a media timeout, so perfect timing for that icing call. We'll step aside for a commercial break and be back right after this. 3-1 Sentinels here in Topeka.
Scott's entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
I'll go back to Topeka. Got to see Richard Hawes in that last commercial break. Would love to see a Hawes Insurance power play at some point here. Boys are working hard, though. Most of the play been down to our right in the Topeka end, so good start to this period. About 5.5, a little over 5.5 into period number 2. Topeka really struggling on home ice for a team that's 7 games over 500. They're 8-7 at home, so getting most of their W's on the road. They're going to end up trying to make a good playoff run. They're going to have to figure out some ways to try to win some games on home ice. Here comes Koash over the line, dropping it out to the middle of the ice, walking, shooting off the crossbar. That was Igor Litvinov looking for his first FPHL goal. Had some space to walk in and wire. That's exactly what he did, and it's the second crossbar of the day. Jawan Davis in the neutral zone takes a hit from Litvinov. Dumped it in deep. He was not yet at the red line when he had done so, so it's another icing call on the Sentinels. One of my favorite sayings from a broadcaster is from John Weideman of the Chicago Blackhawks, their longtime radio broadcaster. Whenever there's more than one crossbar in a game, he says that's 2 bars, one more, and it's a pub crawl. Speaking of, hello to everybody at Hog Molly Brewing Company for our Indiana Sentinels watch party. Looked like everybody had so much fun last night that they went back for day number 2. So hello to everybody over at Hog Molly. Hope you're all having a great night. Palazzo kicked out of the faceoff circle. Infantino going to have to take it. Going up against Corey Checo. Infantino winning that draw. Turned over to Topeka, pass across from Checo. Finds its way to the wall. Gagnon walking, shooting one, and Werber snaps it up out of the air. Everett Thompson calling from the Sentinels bench. Didn't like how close some of Topeka's players had gotten to the net. There you saw Justin Schmidt. Schmidt not afraid to mix things up and pick up some penalty minutes. He's got 98 of them on the season. Sentinels will clear it up off the glass. Zinchenko chasing it down. Will take a back pass out to the middle of the ice for Anderson. Couldn't control it, bouncing around in the slots. Zinchenko having to bring it over to the wall and in behind. Bo Zinchenko out to the opposite side, now wheeling up top. Still holding on to it, now looks at his options at the near blue line. He'll put it down low for Lease. Takes a hit, but still controls the puck. Puts it back to Zinchenko. Pinching in as Pavlov goes up off his skate and on goal. Sommerfeld able to make the save and hang on. Pavlov tied up there by Bird. Looking for a penalty. Isn't going to get one. That deflected off of the instep of his skate. And on net, would have been interesting if that had gone into the back of the net if the referee had seen a kicking motion or not. Offensive zone coming up, though, for the Indiana Sentinels. Hippolyte Smith on the draw. He'll face off against Trevor Graspy. Hippolyte Smith in game number 100 today. Gets bumped off the puck there by Lind. Esposito with a stick check from in behind Tortorella. Helps that puck stay in. Lind in behind the net. Will move it along for Blaisdell. Chipped up to Smith along the wall, try to redirect that out. Was unable to do so the first time. Second opportunity does get out. Now Tortorella coughs up the puck at the blue line, but stripped right back by Esposito. He'll hit the red line and flip it in. Merrick Tortorella after it. Throws a body in behind on Doug Blaisdell. And cleared out to center ice. Turned right back up, though, by Merrick Tortorella. Over the blue, takes a snapshot just about 5 feet inside the zone. Deflects off of a stick. And out of play. We'll get another whistle with 12:10 left to play here in period number 2. Sentinels lead it 3-1. Shots in the period so far. 6 for the Sentinels. And 4 for the Scarecrows. Another in-zone draw for Indiana. Colazzo on the draw. He'll win it again. Pazika coming in to take a shot. Didn't get there. The second attempt from Colazzo along the wall was stopped by Sommerfeld. The puck was free for a moment with Infantino in front. Sommerfeld finds it and hangs on and will stay inside the Scarecrows' end. Same grouping out there on both sides. Another Sentinels face-off win. They've been great in the second period. Here's a shot from the blue line that goes off the side of the net. Davis had that one in his feet. Couldn't move the puck forward. Pulled out of there by the Scarecrows and out to center. Terrain throws a body on Koch. Pazika in behind. He's harassed by Wilson and Koch. Koash bashes it in behind the net. Wilson there below looking out in front. On the backhand there was Koash. Tried to hack at it as Werber was able to cover it up. And now we've got Koash down on the ground. The Scarecrows not take it too lightly to that. We've got a bit of a problem now in behind us. Terrain now throwing some punches. Koash has his helmet off. Koash trying to throw some punches from up top. Elijah Wilson had jumped in there to help out. Now Koash and Infantino going in on it. Wilson trying to get in there. Terrain not liking it. Now Pazika coming in against Wilson. Says, you want to do that? Let's go. They're tied up. Koash wants to drop the gloves against Infantino. Infantino being tied up, and now we got a wrestle match in behind between Wilson and Pazika, who then pat each other on the back afterwards. Koash and Infantino still going at it in front of the penalty boxes. Romeo Terrain coming over to talk to Koash. And I think we've reached our boiling point. It'll take a hot minute to figure out what the penalties are going to end up being here. But all of that started. There was a pass from in behind the net by Wilson. He hit Koash in front. Koash really couldn't get too much of a handle on it. Was able to just kind of fumble that puck on net. It was stopped by Werber, and couldn't really tell from up here if the puck was covered right away or if it was still laying loose, but Koash thought he was going to hack and whack at John Werber. And the Sentinels thought much differently. Look at that Sentinels bench. Infantino pumping them up, and the Sentinels bench all up in arms. Giving them a, hey, how are you? But at the end of the day, you know, I'm all for crashing the net and trying to get pucks on goal, especially if the puck is free. You want to play to a whistle, and to Koash's credit, the whistle had not yet gone. But if you're going to go to the net, you're going to hack the goalie. You're going to reap the repercussions. I mean, you want to go back to last weekend against Port Huron. Ryan Glazer had hit the Port Huron goaltender a couple times, and Reggie Millette said that's enough of that and decided to go after him at the end of the game. So a little bit of a similar situation here where if you hit the goaltender, Sentinels are going to stick up for him. And it looks like Scott Koash, he's going to get escorted off the ice. Not sure if he's done for the remainder of the game or if this is just a rest of the period kind of thing. Well, with 11:33 left to go in period number 2. Yeah, Dylan Infantino's going to go as well. So it looks like both of these guys are going to be done for the remainder of the night. And unlike Port Huron, locker rooms are on opposite sides of the arena, so these guys aren't going to be walking out the same way. Both coaches getting the lowdown on exactly what we're going to have here. I'm assuming it's going to be even on both sides. It didn't look like there was going to be too much else other than let's keep it 5-on-5 or 4-on-4. So we'll take a look and see exactly who's on the ice. Draw is going to come just outside the Sentinel zone, and they might have the extra penalty here. They do. Romeo Terrain has the only penalty up on the board, so we are going to go to the Powerade penalty kill. So Romeo Terrain somehow gets the only penalty in that entire thing.
For your Scarecrows, number 18, Scott Koash.
Now here come the Scarecrows in over the line. Stripped just as soon as they got over the blue and sent all the way down by Zinchenko. Boy, I got to tell you, I truly have no idea how this is not even strength. Unless something else happened after the fact. Maybe Romeo Terrain had said something to the referee, but other than that, I've got no clue. Blocking the blue line. Tic-tac-toe passing down to the bottom of the circle. And a good stop there from Werber down low. And this one gets cleared all the way down by Merrick Tortorella, who then takes a huge check from Lind. Now Colazzo intercepting this at center ice. Will spin it right back up the wall. Gagnon there to recollect for the Scarecrows. 45 seconds left to go on this Sentinel penalty. Graspy will throw it across for Checo. He'll put it up the wall. Pazika there to intercept. He tosses it right back again. Here's Nowinski throwing it across to Graspy. He'll hit the red line, dump it in. Gagnon there to collect. Down low, bouncing puck. Pazika settling it down. He'll wrap it around the wall. Lease unable to clear that puck out. And now we get a whistle and I believe a penalty coming to the Topeka Scarecrows. Marian Pazika got hit up high and it looks like he might be leaking. It's only going to be a 2-minute penalty to the Scarecrows, but the Sentinels go into the power play right after this. It's 3-1 here in Topeka. Welcome back to Landon Arena. It is the Richard Haas Insurance Power Play. In the next 13 seconds, we'll go 4-on-4 until then. But the draw coming inside the Scarecrow zone, sitting down for Topeka is going to be Hugo Koch. As he came up a little high on Marian Pazika. Pazika no worse for the wear. He's out there to start out this 4-on-4, about to get into a power play situation for Indiana. He's got it now in the neutral zone, leaving it off for Jawan Davis. They'll rag it back and clear off the rest of their time on the penalty and go off to a power play as terrain is off. On for him is Lucas Winnick. Jawan Davis skating through the neutral zone, gains entry to the offensive zone, will wrap it around to Colarusso. He puts it in behind Graspy there to take away, and he'll send it all the way down. The first power play for the weekend. On the Sentinels side, they are at 17.6% on the year. They are fourth in the Empire Division. Meanwhile, for the Scarecrows, a very good penalty kill, 83.9%. That's second overall in the Empire. Here's Davis. Had that one roll over his stick. He'll send it down low. Hippolyte Smith chasing after it. Comes around. Pazika on the far side. Pinned up along the wall. Laying down on top of it there is Graspy. He's got his knee on top of it. Referee saying to play on. Finally squirts free for Davis. He's checked in behind. Gagnon unable to pin that up along the wall. Pazika and Davis play catch, but Davis down low to Hippolyte Smith. Back to Davis, and the slot shooting. Couldn't get it through. Knocked down on its way. Cleared out to the blue line and held in by Colarusso with 40 seconds to go on the penalty. Pazika up top, firing one, blocked by Graspy. Now Winnick will grab it and throw it back up top. Davis in the slot, leaving it to Colarusso. Hippolyte Smith will switch with Davis. He leaves it along the wall for Hippolyte Smith. Cross-ice feed for Colarusso in front for Winnick. It was blocked. Held in by Pazika at the point. Good pressure by the Sentinels. Cross-ice pass. Look out in the crowd. Ends up out of play. Good puck movement there from the Sentinels. Unable to find a way to get the puck on net. Had a couple shot opportunities. Was blocked on the way through. But really good puck movement here for the Sentinels. You could say they've got a little swagger in their step right now. Keep it going, fellas. Here's Lease. Off the face-off win. Bouncing puck rolls out to center ice, and that should just about do it for the power play.
Scarecrows, full strength.
So both teams unable to convert on their power play opportunities. Turnover here. Walking in is Koch. He'll drop it off to the slot. There's a shot. Tip, they score. Oh, boy. Terrible luck. Tyler Inlow was able to find that puck and whiffed on his shot on net. I believe that hit the inside of the skate of Ivan Panovanov and went in between Werber's legs and in the back of the net. It's now 3-2. Boy, is that a big goal for the Scarecrows as you take a look at it. Doesn't get much on this shot. Yeah, it hits right off the heel of Panovanov and in. So for the second straight game, the Scarecrows get a goal, a gift goal, that goes off of one of the Sentinels and in. And for Tyler Inlow, that's going to be his fourth goal of the year. And a very timely goal for the Scarecrows. So now, time to buckle down. If you're the Sentinels, get back to work. Try to get that next goal, which is going to be huge. Out to the blue line it goes, held in for a moment. Pazika now will send it to Davis at the neutral zone. He backhands it in. 7 minutes left to play here in period number 2. Lind will curl away from a check. Starts skating out towards center. Around Esposito and into the zone. Lind, nice drag move to the net. Big save by Werber, the rebound. Hacked at by Nerlin. Couldn't get it on goal. Great rush there from Connor Lind. Got to the goal and Werber required to make a huge stop. Nerlin out to the blue line. Sent down low by Litvinov. Bounces to Nerlin at the side of the net. Throws it on goal. Werber able to get the pad down in time. And Esposito skates into the offensive zone. Try to drag it around Litvinov. Litvinov able to get just enough of Esposito to knock him off the puck. And the Scarecrows come right back out. Smith will dump and chase. Cycle it in behind to the opposite side. Wilson there will pull up along the half wall, battling through the check of Castillo. Now the Sentinels control. It's Merrick Tortorella in his own zone. Whiffs on the clearing attempt. Hits Wilson right out at the high slot. He fumbled the puck. Turnaround shot by Inlow. Sails wide. And now Merrick Tortorella will drop it back to Castillo. And Richie Colarusso. He and Merrick Tortorella got tied up. Colarusso got the worst end of it. And this one gets deflected out of play. Looks like it went off of the glass and out. The Scarecrows try to vie for another power play as Colarusso limps his way to the bench.
If you are caught doing so, you'll be ejected from the arena and subject to arrest. Again, do not throw objects onto the ice.
Let's see here. Conversation once again with the officiating staff as far as what everybody saw. Would not be a good time for the Sentinels to go back to the penalty kill, with the Scarecrows within arm's reach now. Palazzo having a conversation with one of the referees. And it looks like the Sentinels are going to end up going back on the penalty kill. Yeah, Castillo is going to end up going to the box. So for the second time today, the Sentinels go into the penalty kill because of a delay of game call. So 5:44 left to go here in period number 2. And we go right back to the penalty kill. Good start here for the Sentinels. Thrown on net by Zinchenko, but knocked aside by Sommerfeld. Scarecrows will come in over the Sentinel line. It's Lind pulling up. Out to the point it goes, D to D. Graspy throwing it down low. Gets the return feed, walks the line. Graspy leaving it off for Nerlin. Nerlin stick check. He's able to get the puck back. Graspy goes to the opposite side now. Comes right back to him up top. His shot blocked by Zinchenko. Comes right back to him and he swats it out to center ice. Race for the puck. Sommerfeld having to come out and play it. We'll move it along to Graspy. He'll turn right back in. Sentinels able to get just one player off. Pass out towards the slot. Nerlin leaving it off for Wilson. He'll kick to the stick. Lind going right back to Wilson again. Wilson walking in. We'll drop it down low. The return feed. Big save by Werber. Got it with the toe. Cute little passing play there by the Scarecrows, but Werber able to get a toe on it. Sentinels failed to clear on the first attempt. Comes back to Panovanov. He'll force this one out to center ice. Colazzo slaps it all the way down. 40 seconds left to go. Back in his own end. Connor Lind leaving this off for Gagnon. Corey Checo with some space. Will hold on to it as he gets to the bottom of the circle. Exits out the other side, wrapping it around. Gagnon just able to keep that in for a moment. Sent down low. Good stick there by Terrain. Knocking it away, and Merrick Tortorella sends it the length of the ice and on goal, where Sommerfeld will send it aside for Gagnon. And that'll do it for the penalty kill. Both teams back at full strength inside the Sentinel zone. Tortorella unable to get a handle on that puck, wrapped around by Checo in behind. They battle for it in the corner. 4-man scrum pulled out by Smith. He'll come to the blue line, bounces over the stick of Gagnon and out to center. Nearly mishandled it as Merrick Tortorella, the first man in on the forecheck, nearly got him to cough up the puck. Here comes Boston Bird driving and shooting, and Werber down low makes a save. Smith hacking after the whistle, but Werber able to hang on to it. 3:11 left to play in period number 2. Things are getting interesting in Topeka. Sentinels lead it 3-2. We'll be back right after this. Very big final 3 minutes and 11 seconds here in the second period. Sentinels have a face-off in their own end. Need to make sure that they lock in and don't give up anything else here in this second period and head off the ice still with the lead. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Goals under the 5-minute mark in any period are pretty detrimental as far as momentum is concerned. So you want to make sure you're locked in here for the final 3 minutes. There's Pavlov spinning in his own end. Had that puck get away from him for just a moment. Clearing attempt held in. Pass out towards the slot, knocked away. Bouncing out to the blue line. Gagnon snapper. Goes off of a stick and wide. Colazzo getting a stick on that. Cleared out by the Sentinels. Chasing after it, Anderson. Able to strip his man, Gagnon, and throw it in deep. Now Anderson in behind. Leaving it to Colazzo. He'll pull up and hold that along the wall. Anderson there to help out. A turnaround shot bounces up in the air. Davis there to pick it up. Backhand feed for Colazzo in front. It's rolling. He'll get a shot towards the net. Sails in behind and wraps around for Davis again. He'll cycle it down low. Anderson poking it out in front. Hops up into the air. Lays loose in the slot. Finds its way to the skates of Davis and in behind the net. Davis once more with it. Good pressure for the Sentinels. Colazzo will walk up the wall. Try to protect that puck, stolen from him by Graspy, and he'll send it down. Race for the puck here between Terrain and Graspy. Terrain throwing the hip into Graspy, sending him into the wall, separating him from the puck. Another hit in the corner sends Winnick down to the ice. Long shot from the blue line by Blaisdell was stopped by Werber. Rebound squirts free. Panavanov will pick it up, and we're going to get another penalty now on the Sentinels as Winnick threw a check and knocked the stick out of the hands of one of the Scarecrows. So with 1:46 left to play in period number 2, it's the third penalty of the period and fourth overall. And we'll go back to the Powerade penalty kill. Once again, the Sentinels find themselves in a precarious situation in the dying moments of the period as Zinchenko exits the ice. He was coming up a little lame at the end of that shift. He and Doc Powell will go off the ice. On the draw, comes out to the blue line. Scarecrows will control. It's going to be a slashing call on Winnick. Wilson has it in the corner. Will throw it up top for Graspy. His shot deflects off of Hippolyte Smith and wide. Ends up going to the corner for Nerlin. He'll put it in behind. Koch spins away from a check. Goes right back to Nerlin in the corner. Lind will hold on to it at the point. His shot redirected, and Werber able to make the save. Bounces loose in the slot. Thrown on goal by Nerlin, and Werber down. makes the save to hang on with 1:16 left to play in the period. 1:30 left to go on the penalty. Face off going to left-hand side of John Werber. 1 to Wilson. He fakes the slap shot. Elects to end up going back to Lind at the blue line. Now Graspy will bounce this one back over to Wilson. Wilson sending it down low into the corner. Koch didn't like what he saw. He'll circle back. Wilson up top to Graspy. Back to Wilson. His snapshot ends up going off the glass. Not sure if Werber got a piece of it or not. Nerlin will pick it up on the rebound. In behind for Koch. Nerlin in the corner. Back down low for Koch. Nerlin going to the net. Pass out in front. Bouncing around. Cleared out of there by the Sentinels. Colazzo able to swat that one down. Sommerfeld playing it along. Lind after it with 28 left to go in the period. He'll start skating through the neutral zone. Connor Lind gets around Pavlov, has Hippolyte Smith all over him. Wilson overskates in behind. Puck gets pinned up along the wall. Sentinels are content to keep that puck there for the final seconds here of the period. Great work in behind the net. I believe that's Noah Hippolyte Smith pinning that puck up. What a job. He killed off a good 10 seconds. And that's how our period's going to end. What a job by Noah Hippolyte Smith. And the boys in the corner there. He was able to pin that puck up along the wall and hold it there for just about the final 15 seconds of that period to help kill off the rest of that time. The Sentinels will still have 14 seconds left to kill when they come back from the break. But a brilliant job by the PK unit there to pin that up along the wall for an extended period of time. Only goal in that period coming to the Scarecrows on a bit of a strange bounce. It was Tyler Inlow who walked in and took a fanned shot. He whiffed on it, and it rolled off of the inside of the skate of Ivan Panovanov between the legs of John Werber, who had no clue where the puck was, and into the back of the net. We are through 40 here in Topeka. Sentinels leading it 3-2. We'll be back with the intermission report right after this. You're watching Sentinels Hockey on the Sentinels Hockey Network. Welcome back to Topeka, where the Sentinels carry a 3-2 lead going into period number 3. And that period was more of a tamer period. The Scarecrows certainly up the ante as far as the defensive zone is concerned. Did not allow all that many chances inside their own end. It started out with the Sentinels getting a couple good looks and being able to create some pressure, but incoming goaltender Brent Sommerfeld, who replaced the starting goaltender Sammy Bernard in the second period, was up to the task. And the only goal of the period, like I said, coming to Topeka on just a freak play. But we are through 40 minutes, and when the Sentinels lead the game through 40 minutes of play, they have a 5-1-2 record. So hopefully they'll figure out a way to get win number 6 tonight. They have 14 seconds penalty kill time before they get back to 5-on-5 play. Just want to update you as far as what those penalties look like in that big fracas that saw Dylan Infantino and Scott Coas get booted from the hockey game. So they both got coincidental roughing minors to start with, and then were then coincidentally given 10-minute unsportsmanlike misconduct calls. So they are done for the remainder of the night. Romeo Terrain went down for a roughing call in all of that. So once again, I'm not entirely sure how he was the only one to grab the additional penalty out of that since everybody was fighting, but it is over and done with. The shots in that period were 8-7 in favor of Topeka. Obviously, they had spent a good part of that period on the power play, so they got more shot opportunities, but the Sentinels really had quite a few of those shots in the first, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes of play in that period. Let's take a quick look at what's going on around the league right now. And once again, just a couple of huge surprises. First and foremost, the Twin City Thunderbirds, 7-4 over Binghamton. That's in the very dying seconds of the third period. So they're going to complete the sweep of the Binghamton Black Bears. Not sure the last time that happened to Binghamton. Once again, PD and Athens has been postponed due to weather and will get played at a later date. Blue Ridge hanging on over Danbury. That's 3-2 out in West Virginia. Meanwhile, the Port Huron Prowlers up 2-1 over Watertown. If they're able to hold on to that and the Sentinels can hold on to their lead as well, that would certainly work in the favor of Indiana, who is trailing by Watertown by a couple of points coming into this weekend in the standings. Biloxi on the wrong end of a 5-1 hockey game out in Columbus against the River Dragons. And right here in Topeka, it is 3-2 in favor of the Sentinels. We'll step aside once more and finish out the intermission and come back with the third period of play right after this. You're watching the Indiana Sentinels on the Sentinels Hockey Network. Welcome back to period number 3 here in Topeka as your Sentinels lead it 3-2 through the first 40 minutes of play. They'll stay on the Powerade penalty kill for the next 14 seconds here. And we will go back to 5-on-5. And hopefully Indiana will be able to pick up the next tally to give themselves a little bit of breathing room. Sommerfeld, after sitting on the bench for the first 20 minutes of play, was thrown into the ring of fire, if you will, and did a pretty decent job in that second period. Quite a few solid opportunities for the Indiana Sentinels at the beginning 5 to 7 minutes, I would say, of that second period, and he stood tall and denied each one of them. But we've got 20 minutes left to go. Bozinchenko back on the ice after leaving early in the second period. Seems like he's going to be good enough to finish out the rest of this hockey game. He's one of a couple of Sentinels who've gotten dinged in this game. Boys are battling through. They got about 8.5, 9-hour bus ride home to lick their wounds, but 20 minutes until we get to that point as we are underway in the Ryan Furr Creative third period. Scarecrows will control. It's Elijah Wilson. Has it knocked off his stick there by Zinchenko, which finishes off the rest of that penalty kill. Here's Lees coming out in front. Couldn't get the shot on net. Bouncing puck lays there at the side of the goal. Finally gets cleared out by the Scarecrows. Graspy there at the neutral zone was hit by Winnick. Will leave it off, and it gets dumped into the Sentinels territory. Panovanov didn't think that puck was coming to him. Needs a little help from Pavlov. He'll get it, and they'll come out to center ice. Pavlov will backhand it to the blue line. Comes to Colazzo now. He's stopped up just inside the Scarecrow line, and it's cleared back out to the neutral zone where Anderson will take this puck and throw it in deep. Anderson takes a huge hit after the fact from Bird, which incidentally took out one of the linesmen. We play on. Even the officiating staff isn't safe out here in this hockey game. It's been a physical one. Davis will move it to the middle of the ice for Colazzo. Try to get it to Anderson. Sentinels are offside. There's another big hit just inside the Scarecrow zone. Jawan Davis getting the worst end of that. He gets right back up, though, and heads to the bench. Face-off coming just outside the Scarecrows zone. So Scott Koash back on the ice. He and Dylan Infantino, so they were only done for the remainder of that period. So they are back on the ice. That's a huge ad for both teams. Now, both of those big lines are complete once more. Inside the Sentinel zone, Pazika in behind his own net. Gets thrown into the boards, but still is able to wrap the puck up the wall, not out. This time it's turned over. Merrick Tortorella looking up ahead for Esposito, who was streaking. Couldn't get the puck to him, though. Back come the Scarecrows over the line. This is offsides on Topeka. And we'll get yet another whistle with 18:11 left to go in the third as Merrick Tortorella, he and Inlow collide at the blue line. So more bodies hitting the floor. Somebody cue up bodies hit the floor on Spotify. Face off just outside the Sentinels' end. Now we're going to have Koash and Infantino on the face-off. Of course we do. Now that they're finally out of the penalty box, they face off once more. Koash will win this round. It's dumped into the Sentinel zone. Koch gets stick lifted there by Davis. Comes out to the neutral zone. Finds Elijah Wilson. He'll move it along for Koash, and we get a whistle and a penalty coming up. This time to Topeka. Back to the Haas Insurance power play for the Sentinels. Once again, it's going to be Hugo Koch going to the box. A hooking call. And a huge power play opportunity now for Indiana. 0 for 1 on the day so far. It was a bit of a clipped power play. I believe they only had a minute and 45 seconds or so to get work done, but they moved the puck around really nicely in the offensive zone, got a few chances. I don't believe they're able to get any shots on net, but were able to set up some ozone time and worked it around pretty nicely. So be good for them to build off of that momentum and continue on this power play. Here's Bozinchenko with some speed over the line, driving to the net, got stick checked at the very last moment, tried to dip that shoulder and get to the goal, but had it knocked off his stick. Nice job by Doug Blaisdell to stay with him. Sent along the wall, Panovanov keeps it in. They battle for it. Along the half wall, Esposito pulls it free. Has it stuck in a couple skates. The second try gets cleared all the way down. 40 seconds gone on this power play. Pavlov will set up in behind his own net as Indiana gets a couple new players on the ice. They'll get out their new unit. Pavlov, Hippolyte Smith, Juwan Davis, Marian Pizzitka, and Dylan Infantino. Pavlov now off the ice, giving way to Colarusso. This one's intercepted. Wilson and Koash coming back the other way. Wilson looking for Koash. He's well covered there by Pizzitka, and the pass was about 5 feet in front of him anyway. Wilson now will drag this one back, leave it for Koash, who will bring it right back out to the neutral zone area and kill off a little bit more time. 45 left to go on this Sentinel power play. Played off by Werber into the corner. Wilson going to work there. Pizzitka takes it away from him. And out to center ice they come. Richie Colarusso dumps this one in. Davis was offside as Colarusso made an extra move. Nobody touched it though, so we continue to play on. This one gets slapped all the way down by the Scarecrows. Pizzitka will play it along. Final 10 seconds here of the penalty. Infantino through center ice. Will hit the red line, dump this one in. After it is Alex Norwinski, will clear it up the wall and sent down by the Scarecrows. So nothing much doing on that power play for the Indiana Sentinels. But it's 2 more minutes off the clock. Down to 15:44 left to play here in the third. Here come the Scarecrows on the line. There's a snapshot. Stopped by Werber. The rebound coming out to the blue. Gagnon goes up top. Another long wrister sails wide of the net. Picked up by Nerlin. He's got it in behind the goal. He's got Norwinski on the far side. Finds him there. Norwinski cutting in behind. Finds Nerlin. Sentinels keeping them to the outside for now. Pass out to the blue line. Escapes out to center ice. Quickly, Topeka will come right back in. Here comes Norwinski. Spinning away from Panovanov. He'll drop it down. Graspy braces for the check from Merrick Tortorella. Lease will pick up the puck from in behind. He's held up from in behind the net. Long shot from the blue line. Blocked. Finds Graspy in front. Backhander sailed just wide. Graspy picks it up again. Rolling puck. He punches it out to the blue line. Gagnon fakes a shot. Will come down the wall with it. Holds and brings it in behind. Sentinels are happy to have him stay there. Graspy staying in behind the net. Will float a puck on net. Stopped by Werber. That was hacked out of midair by Graspy. Nearly a high sticking call. Second shot from Nerlin. Ends up going off the high glass in behind. Now Graspy in behind. Holding on to him is Pavlov. Got away with the call there, it looked like. We play on. Zinchenko able to bring it out to center ice, and he'll drag it back as his teammates try to complete a line change. Bozinchenko has Hippolyte Smith with him. We'll move it off to him on the far wing. Hippolyte Smith over the line. We'll get it in deep. Bring it out the near side. Put it out to the blue line. Snapshot from Pizzitka. Didn't get much on it. And it sails into the glove of Sommerfeld. He'll hang on to it. 6 minutes gone here in period number 3. Sentinels lead it 3-2. We'll be back right after this. You're watching Indiana Sentinels hockey on the Sentinels Hockey Network.
Scott's entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
Back in Topeka, Sentinels lead it 3-2, just a shade over 6 minutes gone in period number 3. Sentinels looking to pick up their second series sweep of the season. They've got 13:56 to get there. They'll win the faceoff. Wrapped in behind the net, Gagnon there to pick it off. He'll send it through the air and out to center ice, settled down by Koch. He'll dump this one in. Elijah Wilson will pick it up. Trying to pass that one to the middle for Koash, but right there to take it is Esposito, and he'll start the rush back the other way. Flipping up ahead to Infantino in behind. He and Wilson collide in the corner, picked up now by Gagnon in behind his own net. He'll toss it up ahead. Wilson trying to redirect that one up ahead. It bounces to Koch. He'll come into the line. Pazika with him. Koch, the wrist shot, sailed wide. Now Koch again, leaving it to Koash. Had it roll off his stick on the backhand. Hits the side of the net. Pazika carries on. Will flip it out to the blue line. Not out. Gagnon keeps it alive. Nerlin will walk to the middle of the ice. Holding it. Nerlin waiting. Pass out in front for Koash. Couldn't power it home. Castillo and Pazika there. Unable, or not allowing, I should say, Scotty Koash to get that puck on net. Cleared out of there by the Sentinels. Scarecrows come on out to center. Feed up ahead intended for Bird was deflected, bouncing around at the blue line. Scarecrows will get it in onside. Colarusso battling with Bird in behind the net. Castillo helping out. Flips it along to Zinchenko. Zinchenko shielding the puck away from Nerlin. Zinchenko will chip and chase, cleared away by Sommerfeld. And an outlet pass out to center finds Bird. He'll hit Nerlin. Nerlin poke check by Panavanov just inside the blue line. Zinchenko now 1-on-3, able to kick it up ahead. We'll wrap it in behind the Scarecrow net. Merrick Tortorella there. Lets it go past him out to the blue line. Lease, his snapshot goes through Tortorella's legs. Merrick Tortorella's legs and wide. And it's one handed out to center ice by Connor Lind. Turned right back up though by the Sentinels. Here's Panavanov. Moving to the middle of the ice for Lease. He'll settle it down. Couldn't get around Lind and get enough space to get a shot on net. And the Scarecrows will once again clear their own zone. Right to Panavanov, who, quick transition, gets it up ahead to the blue line. Cleared out again by the Scarecrows. Race for the puck for icing. Saved by Smith. He takes a check from Pavlov. Pass out towards the slot, bouncing around. Smith a hack at it, sailed wide. Knocked down with a high stick, though, by the Scarecrows. And we'll get another whistle. 11:20 on the clock here in period number 3. Next home game for your Indiana Sentinels is going to be back on or coming up on February 20th, I should say. 7:30 puck drop at the Hamilton Community Ice Arena. They'll take on the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Welcome your boys home. Be a loud and raucous crowd that night. That'll be the second straight weekend that the Sentinels play Danbury. We'll be out in Connecticut the weekend previous. Here comes Infantino. Escapes a check and will move it along. Drops it up to the blue line. Pazika will wrap it around. Litvinov will clear out to center ice. Terrain there to pick it up. Pazika back to grab it in his own end. Takes a hit but makes the play. Leaves it for Terrain, who comes right back to Pazika. He'll send it along for Esposito, and we're going to get a whistle stopping play. Who is this penalty going to be on? Is it going to be on Pazika or... The Scarecrows had control of the puck when the whistle had gone. Pazika is absolutely furious. And it looks like he's going to be the one to go to the box. It'll be a high sticking call on Marian Pizika. But once again, the Scarecrows had control of the puck. So why that whistle went, I don't know. But nonetheless, it's going to be another penalty kill, Powerade penalty kill for the Indiana Sentinels. They are 4 for 4 on the day so far. They'll start out with the unit of Jonas Lees, Bozinchenko, with Panavanov and Pavlov on the back end. Everett Thompson talking to the officiating staff. I don't think he thought that Pizika got Wilson. But we play on. Panavanov wins a battle along the wall, and he'll clear it all the way down. Out come the Scarecrows. Lind will drop it off to Elijah Wilson. He'll enter the Sentinel zone, get to the middle of the ice, and drop it back to the blue line for Graspy, who has to go and grab it. Now Koch in behind the net. We'll move it to Nerlin on the half wall. Back down low for Koch. Nerlin back on the half wall. He and Koch now play catch. Out to the opposite side, Wilson will come up top. Shot from Graspy. Sails wide of the goal. Puck gets wrapped around, not out. Panavanov on the second try. This time gets some air underneath it and sends it down the length of the ice. 1:05 left to play on the penalty to Marian Pizika. Scarecrows hit the blue line, dump it in. Castillo pinning it up along the wall, takes a hit from Lind. Puck pops free. They still hack and whack at it. Pulling it free there is Smith. He's checked in behind by Hippolyte Smith. Castillo wins the puck. He'll send it down. 35 left to go on the kill. What a phenomenal job the Sentinels have done so far on the PK. Have another 25 seconds to kill this one off. Pulling up his bird, Hippolyte Smith swipes it off his stick. Colarusso can't clear, held in at the blue line by Gagnon. His long shot never made it through, might have hit Smith on the way. Koash will pick it up on the half wall to Lind. Across to Gagnon. He'll move it down to Bird, walking in front for Koash. He's double covered there by Colazzo and Castillo. Penalty is over. Both teams now back at full strength. Shot from the blue line, deflects just wide. Smith in behind. In front for Koash, shooting, saved by Werber, fought it off. Swipes the rebound away. Hippolyte Smith trying to kick it to his stick, cannot. Comes back down low to Bird. We're going to get a penalty on Topeka. Yes, sir, a hooking call on Avery Smith. So a hard-working penalty kill for the Sentinels turns into a power play opportunity that they'll get once we come back from break. Sentinels lead 3-2, 8:21 left to go in the third period. Massive opportunity coming up here for the Indiana Sentinels. 8:21 on the clock. They lead 3-2 And they've got themselves a power play, their third of the game, 0 for 2 so far. They had one earlier in the period that didn't go so well. We'll start out with Esposito, Zinchenko, and Anderson up front with Pavlov and Panovanov on the back end. Face-off won by the Sentinels. Poked out to the blue line for Pavlov, just out of his reach, though. He'll have to double back and grab it. He does just that, and we'll set up the breakout. It was Avery Smith who got the penalty for the Scarecrows. He'll sit down for 2 for a hooking call. Scarecrows clear it down once more. Minute and 35 to go on the power play. The Hawes Insurance power play as Zinchenko in behind the net takes a huge hit from Lind. Boy, not easy to knock a big guy like Bo Zinchenko down, but Lind did that. Zinchenko coming in at 6'1", 194. There's Panovanov at the blue line, snapping one towards the net. It got blocked before it could get through. Esposito trying to lift the stick of his man, ends up getting called for a hooking call. This one gets sent the length of the ice. Werber will touch. And it's going to be 4-on-4 for 1 minute of play. Esposito doesn't agree with the call. Tried to get a stick lift there, but got the stick underneath the hands apparently. So 7:20 left to play. And we'll be 4-on-4 for the next minute. Face off to the left of Werber. Graspy and Hippolyte Smith. Graspy will win it. Lind will walk. Has it knocked off his stick by Jawan Davis and out to center. Lind to chase after it. Davis stuck with him the whole time. Strips him of the puck. Will enter into the offensive zone. Has it knocked off of his stick. After it, though, is Hippolyte Smith. Now Graspy in his own end. We'll send it up the wall for Nerlin. He'll get away from the poke check of Jonas Lees. Sends it out to the blue line. Long floating shot goes right into the stomach of Werber. He'll hang on. 25 seconds left to go on the Topeka penalty before we get back to a Topeka power play. 6:45 on the clock. Topeka getting ready for their power play. They'll put Koash and Wilson out there. Haven't had them together on the power play so far today. Try to split those two up. Looks like they're going to try to get as much power on their power play unit as they can. Here's Wilson cutting in and shooting one. Werber at the top of his crease, able to soak that one up. John Werber, calm, cool, collected in between the Sentinels' pipes. Face off to his left. Koash and Lease back on the draw. Koash will win another one. Here's Lind with it at the blue line. Leaves it off to Wilson. Now Koash has some space to walk in. Will do so. Shooting one. Kick save made by Werber. Comes right back to Koash. We'll try it again. Off of Colarusso. And out of play just as the penalty expires. And it is now a penalty kill. A Powerade penalty kill for the Sentinels for a full minute and 1 second. Colazzo and Lease out there for the Sentinels with Pazika and Terrain on the back end. Scarecrows will go with Koash, Wilson, and Koch, along with Lind and Gagnon on the back end. They play catch to Lind and Gagnon. They'll switch. Lind walking to the middle. We'll leave it to Koash, who comes up top, trying to get some confusion in this Sentinels PK grouping. Gagnon's long shot. Pazika there to knock it down. He'll backhand it all the way. 40 seconds to go on the penalty. Now come the Scarecrows. Elijah Wilson. Or pardon me, that's Lind. Will curl, didn't like what he saw, drags it back a little longer. Wilson stopped up at the blue line, picks it right back up again, and will throw it in deep. Panovanov, the first one to grab it. Will wrap it around the glass, gets a bounce off the stanchion, comes right to Hippolyte Smith. He'll come out to center ice, 1-on-3. Hippolyte Smith trying to drag his way, gets taken down. A penalty coming to Topeka. Hard work there from the Sentinels. Hippolyte Smith put the wheels on, was about to burst around. I believe that's Elijah Wilson, and Wilson took him out. A tripping call, and we go back to 4-on-4 for the next 10 seconds before yet another Hawes Insurance power play. And after a game where we only had one penalty in 60 minutes, we've got a whole bunch of them specifically in the third period. Power play time for the Sentinels as Esposito coming out of the box. Out comes Anderson as Panovanov heading to the bench. He's injured. There's a snapshot. They score! Esposito walking down, took a snapshot, got just enough of the puck as Sommerfeld had to go underneath his arm and into the back of the net. It's a 4-2 Sentinels lead. And Everett Thompson is livid on the Sentinel bench as Ivan Panovanov took a hack behind the play. And while all that was going on, Ethan Esposito comes down the wing and rifles a shot. A power play goal for the Sentinels. They lead it 4-2 with 5:07 left to play in the third period. Now a conference between the officiating staff in the neutral zone. And it looks like we're going to stay 5-on-5 because Everett Thompson certainly not thrilled. Panovanov going to skate off the ice, so one of the top defensemen for the Sentinels will not be around for seemingly the final 5 minutes and 7 seconds. We get back to the play. Scarecrows misfire on a pass. It comes all the way down, icing on Topeka.
53 of period number 3.
So Esposito giving the Sentinels a 2-goal lead back, and Ashton Colazzo with his third point of the night. And it's 4-2 Indiana. And now the officials deem that Scarecrows actually won that race, so to make up for it, they're going to bring the face-off to center ice. Sentinels will win the draw, though. Sent up the wall by Pazika, comes right back to him again. He'll clear it once more. Waiting there is Lind. He'll go D-to-D. This gets dumped in on goal. We're able to pick that one up like a first baseman, plays it along. Pazika will backhand it up the wall. Zinchenko waiting in the neutral zone. He moves it to Lease. Lease, a drag move, getting around his check at Blaisdell, takes a shot on net that was knocked aside by Sommerfeld. Bouncing puck gets out to center ice. Blaisdell leaving it off for Nerlin. Grasby now. Knocked down out of midair by Bird. His snapshot goes off the side of the goal. Bounces towards the front. Terrain able to knock it away from trouble. Out to the blue line it goes. Long shot blocked by Zinchenko. Anderson's clearing attempt hits Terrain. Who then recollects and will bring it back into his own end. Look out here. Castillo under pressure. Calmly gets it out of the zone. Lind will chip and chase after it. Castillo from in behind his own net will wrap it to Jawan Davis on the wall. He's pinched off there by Nerlin. Or pardon me, that's Koash. Koash now below the goal line. Holding on to it, will throw to the blue line. Gagnon. Cross ice feed for Koash. He's well covered. Bounces off the wall. Gagnon runs into Davis. Davis had it caught up in his gear. Couldn't do too much with it. Gagnon gets it right back as he battles through Castillo. Swiped off of his stick. Koch carries on. Koch. Cross ice pass. Knocked down by Colazzo. He'll move it up ahead from Eric Tortorella. Trying to put on the wheels. Tortorella walking in. Shooting one at Sommerfeld. Able to grab that one and hang on to it. 3:16 left to go in the third period. Sentinels lead at 4-2. We'll be back with the finale of this third period right after this. You're watching the Sentinels on the Sentinels Hockey Network. Boy, I don't know what happened here, but the Scarecrows head coach, Robbie Nichols, looked like he was trying to climb that partition and start screaming at Everett Thompson. Very a la Patrick Waugh when he was the head coach of the Colorado Avalanche. He nearly took down that middle partition. And Robbie Nichols is furious about something. I'm not entirely sure what had happened there. It seemed like everything was very calm, cool, and collected, and all of a sudden, just blew up. With 3:16 on the clock, the Sentinels can smell the sweep, but don't think for a second that this game is over. They need to be locked in here for the next 3:16. Give this Scarecrows offense an inch, they'll take a mile. Nothing changes for the boys in white from what they've done for the first 56 minutes and 44 seconds. Face off to the right of Sommerfeld. Hippolyte Smith wins a draw. Pavlov's long snapshot from the point gets blockered aside. Bouncing puck picked up by Lind. He'll throw it around the wall. Nerwinski outlets out to center. Taken by Inlow. He'll chip it in. Pazika takes a hit in behind. Koash takes it away. Back for Inlow. Inlow and Lind will switch. He'll wrap it in behind the net. Picked off by Pazika. He'll go off the glass and get a good bounce out to center ice. Will not roll all the way down for icing, so the Sentinels can complete some line changes. 2.5 left to go. One-handed into the offensive zone for the Scarecrows. Pass across was blocked by Castillo. Koash will pick it up, throw it up the wall. Lind there to keep it in at the blue line. Koash trying to cycle it back down. Castillo takes it away, and he'll clear back out. Koash, couple drag moves. We'll move it along for Nerlin. His shot stopped by Werber. Took that one off the shoulder. Bouncing puck off the stanchion goes right to Esposito. He'll send it all the way down and icing on Indiana with 2:03 to go in period 3. Face off back in the Sentinels' end. Let's see, do they pull the goaltender? Looks like Sommerfeld is coming off. No, pardon me, it's going to be a timeout for the Scarecrows. So with 2:03 on the clock, I would not be surprised if Sommerfeld starts on the bench here. And it's a 6-on-5 for the Scarecrows. We will see once this timeout is over, but 2:03 left to go in the third period. Sentinels leading it 4-2. Only goal of this period, Ethan Esposito on the power play at the 5:04 mark. Was able to overpower Sommerfeld with a snapshot, find its way into the back of the net. He picks up his 8th goal of the season. Let's see, do they start with Sommerfeld on the bench or not? Looks like even he's confused as to what's going on. Yes, he is going to stay on the bench. So 6-on-5 we will start out with here. Sentinels will go with Colazzo, Esposito, and Merrick Tortorella with Castillo. And Colarusso on the back end. Graspy, Nerlin, Wilson, and Koash up front for the Scarecrows with Gagnon and Lind on defense. Here we go. The faceoff controlled by the Scarecrows. Lind has it. He'll go D-to-D for Gagnon. Down low to Koash, deflected in behind the net. Picked up by Nerlin there. He'll curl at the circles, walking wire one, hit his own man in front. Esposito will pick up the rebound, send it down the length of the ice, well wide of the net. It's going to be an icing call on Indiana, but they'll take it. With 1:44 to go in the third, they'll get to reset on this faceoff. Stays to the left of Werber. Graspy and Colazzo on the draw once more. Colazzo able to win this one. Colarusso will turn and spin this one out to center ice. Rolling towards the cage. Off the post! And they're calling an icing. It hit the post. There we go. Okay. Once again, they're going to make up for their mistake and go to the neutral zone. Topeka electing to keep their goaltender on the bench. This is where I would insert my bold strategy cotton gif. Off the face-off, won by the Sentinels. Pavlov will control. He'll send it out. Knocked down in the neutral zone and tossed right back in. Pavlov whiffing on the second clearing attempt. Here's Wilson. His pass out in front, deflected, just up over the net. Bouncing around, sent out to the blue line, off of a referee. Hits Winnick. He'll clear out to center ice. 1:14 to go. Back comes Gagnon. Pavlov all over him. Gagnon will throw to the blue line. Wilson. D-to-D to Lind. Lind across for Nerlin. Open net. He scores. Aladar Nerlin. What a pass that was to find him wide open on the back door. And all he had to do was push that one to an open net. He almost missed it. Went off of the inside of the far post and in. But with 56.1 to go, it's now 4-3. That was a pretty feed to find Nerlin on the back door. And Nerlin gets his second goal in as many games, his 10th on the season. And once again, the Scarecrows will start out with a goaltender on the net. Here comes Lind over the line. Lind will drop it off to Wilson. Shooting one goes off the side of the goal and out of play with 48.2. .2 on the clock. Another offensive zone draw coming for the Scarecrows. They're going to keep this same unit out there. Grasby is going to go on the faceoff against Lease. They both tie up. Kicked out to Zinchenko. He'll send it to length. Into the net. Empty net tally for Bo Zinchenko. It's 5-3 Sentinels. From 150 feet away, Bo Zinchenko, his second of the game, his 11th on the season. And Indiana 42.6 away from bringing out the brooms.
Indiana goal scored by number 83, Bodan Zinchenko.
Wilson will walk down the wall and shoot one that goes off of Werber and out of play with 35 to go on the clock. What a hockey game we've had here in Topeka. Back and forth we went. Wilson gets his stick hacked out of his hands by Davis. Delayed penalty coming up on the Sentinels. Here's Lind walking in, shooting one, deflects up off the glass. Davis will touch, and one more penalty to kill off for Indiana before the end of this hockey game. Going to be Jawan Davis for a slash. 19.2 left to go. So once again, Topeka will start with the goaltender on the bench. 6 attackers on. As we go to the Powerade penalty kill. On the faceoff, Wilson pulls it free, holds it in behind. In front for Nerlin, couldn't get it on net. Zinchenko takes it away. Will send it the length of the ice. Final seconds tick off the clock. Scarecrows send it down. One more save for Werber. And isn't it fitting? The Sentinels finish this game off on a penalty kill, which is perfect today. 7 for 7. And they pick up win number 8 on the season. It's a sweep against the Topeka Scarecrows.
Three stars tonight, brought to you by 96.9 The Pulse.
Welcome to the Indiana Sentinels postgame show. The Sentinels with a 5-3 victory complete the weekend sweep against the Topeka Scarecrows. They improved their record to 8-20-4 on the season. Meanwhile, Topeka will drop to 19-13 and will get their home record now to an even 8-8, 500 on home ice. Sentinels improved to 6-9-3 on the road, and what can you say but what a gutty effort by this Indiana team. 7 for 7 on the penalty kill, with 4 of those coming in the third period. Just a phenomenal effort by the boys in white. As I mentioned it yesterday, this has been the first week that's really been a normal week for the Indiana Sentinels in a very, very long time. They're finally back to somewhat healthy on their roster. They've got a couple guys who obviously have gone up to play in the SPHL, but this is the first time that they've had pretty much a collective group all on the same page. And they come away with 2 huge victories in Topeka. The next game for the Indiana Sentinels going to be against Binghamton on February the 6th. Binghamton, who have just gotten sweep themselves. It's going to be a 6:50 pregame show with the puck drop at 7 o'clock, so make sure you tune in right here on YouTube. You catch all the action right here on the Sentinels Hockey Network. Sentinels win 5-3 over the Scarecrows. Final shots on net 27-22 in favor of the Scarecrows. In that third period alone, it was 8-4 for Topeka. Both teams getting on the board. 2 goals for the Sentinels, 1 for Topeka in that third period. We thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Big thanks out to the Ryan Fur production crew for helping us out this weekend. Everybody out there doing such a great job putting all the stats and the graphics together and all that good stuff. So phenomenal job by those guys. I'm Andy Petzinger saying thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you in Binghamton. Good night, everybody.